Welcome to The Explainer. You ever wonder how the wealthiest people in the world actually manage their money? Because, spoiler alert, it's probably not what you think. Today, we're going to break down the financial playbook of the top 1% and lay out a simple, powerful system that really anyone can use to go from just earning a living to building real, lasting wealth.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. When you look at how the world's richest people make their money, a really clear pattern emerges. Look at that massive 75% slice. That's entrepreneurs. Then you've got investors making up another 15%. But notice what's missing. It's literally 0%. People who only rely on a salary. And trust me, that is not an accident. It's the whole game plan.
And that gets us to the absolute heart of the matter. Whether we're talking about a business, a stock portfolio, a piece of real estate, they all have one thing in common: ownership. This is the big secret we're unlocking today. It's about that fundamental shift from being just a cog in the machine to actually owning a piece of the machine itself. So that brings us to this really powerful framework that's designed to help you do exactly that. We're calling it the 25-15-50-10 rule. And honestly, you should think of it as a blueprint to completely change your mindset from just earning and spending to owning and growing. And the best part? It works no matter what your income is right now. We're going to start with the most important piece of the puzzle: growth. This is where you commit a full quarter of your income right off the top for one single purpose: buying assets. Things that, over time, grow in value and start putting money back into your pocket. Now, what's really interesting about this 25% is that it's your way of fighting back. Let's be real. The system is kind of designed to keep us in that cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, right? You feel rich for a week, and then you're broke by the end of the month. Well, this 25%, that's your escape plan. It's the money that goes to work for you, even when you're sleeping. Okay, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking right now. I don't have enough to start, or, I've already missed the boat on all the good stuff. But what if I told you that starting right now, even with just a little bit, is the single most important factor of all? Let's take a look at why. So meet Billy and Phil. Billy gets a head start. He's 20, and he starts putting away just $200 a month. Phil, on the other hand, waits till he's 30. But, to try and catch up, he invests more, an extra $100 every single month. So if you look at the raw numbers, Phil actually invests $12,000 more of his own hard-earned money. So logically, you'd think he's got to end up with more cash in the end, right? Well, not so fast. And boom, this is where you see the mind-blowing magic of compound growth. Billy, the guy who invested less money, ends up with almost $600,000 more than Phil. And what was his secret weapon? It was just 10 extra years of letting his money work for him. That's it. That's why starting now, today, is so incredibly important. So the big question is, how do you even get started? Well, think of it like this scale of risk and reward. You can start off slow and steady, like the turtle, with something super safe like an index fund. That basically lets you own a tiny piece of the whole market. But then, as you get more comfortable and maybe want to chase some bigger returns, you can move up the scale to things like real estate or even starting your own online business, aiming for that rocket-like growth. The whole point is to just get on the scale on a step you're comfortable with. All right, let's move on to the next part of the rule, which builds the solid foundation for all of that growth. Because listen, protecting the progress you make is every single bit as important as making it in the first place. This 15% is your margin for error. Think of it as your financial shock absorber. It's the safety net that stops one single unexpected event. The car breaks down, you get a surprise medical bill, from completely derailing your entire wealth-building journey. So your very first goal with this 15% is to build up what we call a stability fund. Now, this isn't just some rainy day fund, okay? This is a fortress. The target is to have enough cash set aside to cover at least 5 months of your non-negotiable living expenses. We're talking rent, food, utilities, the basics. And where you stash this money is absolutely critical. It has to follow 3 really strict rules. Rule number 1, you have to be able to get to it fast. Rule 2, and this is a big one, 0 risk. You never, ever invest your stability fund. And rule 3, it's got to be earning at least a little bit of interest in a high-yield savings account, just to help fight off inflation. All right, now for the biggest piece of the pie. This part is all about funding your life today, but doing it without going into debt or sacrificing all that future growth we just talked about. This is where you really master intentional spending. Putting a hard cap on your essential spending at 50% of your income is just a super powerful way to fight something called lifestyle creep. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's that natural thing we all do. You get a raise, and somehow your spending just magically expands to eat it all up. It's why so many people who make great money still live paycheck to paycheck. And this really highlights a common trap we all fall into. The people who look rich, with the designer clothes and the fancy cars, are often just drowning in debt. Real wealth is usually invisible. It's the investments that are quietly growing in the background, not the flashy things that are on display for everyone to see. So how do you actually stay on track with this stuff? Look, don't rely on willpower. It never works. Use a system. So before any purchase that isn't an absolute necessity, just ask yourself these 3 simple questions. It forces you to just pause for a second and make a conscious choice. And that's the whole secret to keeping your spending under control. Okay, finally, let's talk about the part of the plan that makes this whole thing sustainable. And I want to be clear, this is not an afterthought. It is a crucial piece that keeps you motivated and stops you from just burning out. This 10% is your guilt-free fun money. It is strategically built right into the plan. Seriously, think of it like a cheat meal when you're on a diet. It's what makes all the discipline feel less like a chore, and most importantly, makes this something you can actually stick with for the long run. And here's a pro tip. To get the most happiness out of this fund, try to prioritize experiences over just stuff. You're not just spending money here, you're buying memories with people you love, you're investing in your passions, and you're building a life that you actually truly enjoy living. So there you have it. It's a complete system, right? 25% for growth to build your future, 15% for stability to protect your present, 50% for essentials to fund your life today, and 10% for rewards, so you can actually enjoy the journey. It's a really clear path from being owned by your money to becoming an owner. And that leaves us with one final and pretty crucial question to think about long after this explainer is over. The truth is, every single dollar you have is already following some kind of plan. The only real question is it the plan that society has set for you, or is it a plan that you have intentionally set for yourself?